Hello guys, and welcome back to today's live stream. So let's continue from where we left off yesterday. So yesterday, what we did is we tried to code an arbitrage bot on HyperLiquid and MT5. And so right now this bot has been running overnight, and we've been trying to trade on JP225 on HyperLiquid and hedge that against JP225 on MT5. So so now we have the results here. By the way, I had some issues, but I'll mention them later. But this is our current arbitrage dashboard that we're also going to try improve today. And so right now the unrealized PNL is plus 4 or 3.6 US dollars, and then we have also the realized funding and commissions separated in each individual row. So here you'll see that we have a small realized profit of 26 cents, and then we also have today's funding, which is basically the hourly funding rate that you receive on HyperLiquid. Bosco247, hello ATJ. Hi, thank you for joining the stream. And so 1 second, I just need to just enable a few things on the live stream. Okay, so everything seems to be fine. And Marian Miller, hello sir, I hope you are doing well. I'm excited for today's session. Yeah, me too, me too. So today it's going to be very exciting because today finally we have like a actual, like, we're starting off with a strategy that is already trading. So now what we have to do is just to review the trades and maybe work on the dashboard and see how it's performing. Also, there are some few bug fixes they have to work on, and but we'll do that all within today's live stream. And so so if you also want to call me by name, it's fine. So my name is Tu. So you can also call me by my name if you want to. That's okay. And let us get started. So what I was thinking today is, like, in theory, we could look at other, assets and try to, find some trading, opportunities on other symbols. And like, we could do that, but I think, like, right now we are still in the process of developing our trading bot. And so therefore, I would like still work on the dashboard and make sure that everything is running smoothly. So, by the way, one change that I want to mention is that right now my trading bot is running in on a virtual private server right now. So everything is running remotely, and so the only thing that we actually have to focus on today is just the dashboard. So here I have my localhost dashboard running, which is extracting data from MT5 and also from HyperLiquid. And so I was thinking, okay, we have all the data here that we need for dashboard, and let's actually start with this. Let's compute the profits, look at the historical trades, and make this dashboard look, kind of nice while we just observe the trades on this platform. So I also need to confirm. So right now the bid on HyperLiquid is 65380. On MT5 it's 65367. Yeah. Uh, so when the bid on HyperLiquid is lower than the bid on JP225, it's basically our exit signal, right? So right now we are like very overpriced on HyperLiquid, so price is above MT5. But that's a good thing for us because we still make money on the funding rates here. So as you can see, when prices deviate a lot from MT5, Here we made 12 cents profit, 7 cents, 11 cents. So we actually made a lot of money on the funding rates overnight and today throughout the day. So this is also like a nice thing to have. So when things don't go your way, you at least have the funding rates to compensate. And so in total, what you see here is that this position in total has generated $3 overall. It's worth to mention we're like still testing on a $1,000 account and also 1,000 roughly 1,000 euro on MT5. So we roughly funded $2,000 during the testing phase. So $3 on a 2,000 account within 24 hours is like really good, right? If we multiply 3 times 365, right? That's almost like a 100% return per year on like a lowly funded account. So this is not bad at all. Hey, I'm new here. I'm interested in fine rate arbitrage. If you don't mind, can you share any advice or something that help me in the future? Uh, sure. So basically, a funding rate arbitrage is nothing more than just looking at the funding rate on a HyperLiquid, right, and comparing that with the funding rate on MT5. And so here you have the swap values. So you just need to measure when the funding rate is, for example, higher or lower on HyperLiquid. And so when you create a hedge, which means you create a delta neutral position, you should be able to make money on the funding rates. And usually the funding rates are very high when HyperLiquid price is above MT5 price, or they go negative when the hyperliquid price is below the MT5 price. And so when we run this arbitrage strategy and like run a funding rate arbitrage, we're also like running a normal classical arbitrage in a sense where we're buying, selling for expensive and buying for cheap on MT5. So basically we're combining two arbitrages together into one strategy, which is great. And so if you're also interested uh, about the details of this strategy, you can also check the descriptions of this live stream, and there I have added a post where you can read more about the strategy, right? So here on the live stream, I'm showing more like the coding, implementation, and like a day-to-day process, how to trade and work with this strategy. But if you want to know, on a high level how this strategy works, then I recommend reading the article. And then, hey, to really enjoying this live series, trying out some MT5 HL strats myself. That's great. Good luck to you, and I hope that I can like help you or inspire you on that journey. So, so good luck. Okay, so right now, unrealized plus 3, 26 cents combined funding. So I think what we can actually try to do is that we can, for example, create like a layout in Microsoft Paint, like it's not very nice, but Claude can understand probably, what we mean by that. So now we're just going to do a bit of front end designing, which is usually always like the cherry on top, because you first need a functioning trading bot, right? Making sure the trading bot is making money, and then to verify the results, then you make like a nice like dashboard. And like I have all the data I need, so now I just need to put it into like a format that sort of looks nice. And I think in theory, I can provide uh, 1 second. I think I can provide it, with some initial layout. So let's just start with this. So here, let's say this is our dashboard. And then what we can have here in theory is, so I'm thinking here we can do, we can provide the account data here, which would contain okay, let me also make it a bit smaller. Uh, so account data, which would contain the balance, the equity, and the free margin. And okay, let's make it a bit smaller still. Maybe, okay, and then here we can include the open positions, right? So here we can provide the open positions. Then what we also need is to have like a summary of the P&L. We have a question. Do you have a particular fast internet speed? As I don't see how you manage to compete with HFT algos. But I'm very incompetent in the matter, just generally curious. Uh, yeah, this is a great question. So there is like this assumption that when you want to do market making or arbitrage trading, that you need fast internet, right? You need to compete with other market makers and you need to like compete with other arbitrage trading strategies. And and like in like traditional trading, if you trade on interactive brokers or try to do some latency arbitrage trading, yes, you need very fast internet. But it turns out that on decentralized exchanges, you don't need super fast internet, right? You see that, for example, on JP225, the the pricing is like super inefficient, that you have like arbitrage opportunities lasting for minutes or even hours, and it just takes a lot of time until the prices even out. So so it's actually just about identifying which markets are actually easy to arbitrage. And in such a case, on, for example, JP225, you don't need something that's super fast. You just need your normal, in theory, as you see, I could arbitrage HyperLiquid JP225 with just my local, like my desktop PC at work. And of course, like speed matters, speed helps, and it makes your strategy more efficient. But to make it profitable, it's not necessary. So that's a great question. And so when we also like go to, for example, more liquid assets, right? So for example, if we trade something that's very liquid, for example, crude oil on HyperLiquid is like super liquid, you see that here the daily volume is 400 million US dollars, which compared to the, let's say, futures market, it's just a small fraction. But still, it's already a lot of money that that is flowing through the exchange. And so for more liquid assets, you might need, to have good execution quality and speed. But still, also, if you try to trade crude oil, you can still like arbitrage that with a normal at-home PC setup theoretically, or just order a virtual private server. So I think that was a great question. Guys, can I have a quick question? Is the stream quality okay for you? Because I'm like still checking, some settings on on the stream settings here. So I just want to make sure that there are no lags or outages in the live stream. Um, but I believe that it should probably be okay. Nice. Thank you for confirming. If there's anything wrong, let me know. And like I've been trying to work on it, since yesterday. So amazing. Thank you very much for confirming. And like let me now try to get back to this layout here. So what we can do here also probably is we can provide the total net asset value, right? We can then also show uh, unrealized P&L. Then we can provide today's realized P&L, so like our actual profits. And that's basically it. And then I think then in this box here, we can show the trades. for today, for example. I'm interested in the trades that are placed today. And down here, we can also have like a commission funding and swap summary, something like that. So I think like yeah, design dashboard like this should be okay. Okay, let's just try this. Also, while we're at it, we can also maybe add open orders. But let's first like give Claude this prompt. So Right, I still have some like old prompts from Claude. I was like trying to, work on some bug fixes today. So what happened actually overnight is that my HyperLiquid bot script crashed because there was a WebSocket disconnect, and I did not handle these disconnections correctly on my side. So I needed to, add some reconnect logic and to, restart Trainbot without it crashing. So that's what happened overnight. And so today I'm still going to test if it will help, but we'll see, if it crashes again, because when you work with WebSockets, you should always expect that, either on your end or on the exchange side, there will be disconnects happening from time to time. So it's just important to, handle this disconnect and reconnect after that. And so Bosco asks, if you trade in markets with limit orders, generally you already count as maker because you provide liquidity, right? No, that is not entirely correct, because, for example, a limit order is just an order where you want to, buy or sell at a specific price, and you never want to, trade at a worse price than the limit order. And so, for example, let's say here you see the depth of, let's show it on JP225, right? So on JP225, we are currently short. So let's say, what if we sent a limit order at 65602, right? And so on this level, we already see an ask price, which means that somebody already posted their resting order to the exchange. So if you send a limit order to a level where there is an ask already, it would immediately match you and fill you, and you would count as a taker, right? So a maker order only counts if you actually place an order resting in the order book, right? So it must be somewhere down here. And I can show you a very quick example. So for example, I can, try to place a very, very small order, right? And here you have these order types like immediate or cancel, go till canceled. And so if instead of add liquidity order, right, which basically always counts as maker, I add immediate or cancel, which means, yeah, it's just IOC. So now if I place a price to, let's say, 65602, for example, right? I want to buy at this price, and I place the order, then it would match me with a resting order on the ask side, and it would count as taker. So I have to confirm, and then here I also need to, authenticate with my two-factor authentication. And so now you see that I have bought at 65499. So you don't actually get filled at 65602. What the exchange does is it looks for the best price at this moment. So it can't get worse than 602, but it can match with better price. But then if you look at the trade history, right? So what you see here is that here my position got filled immediately, and this counts as a taker. And I think we can find the data where it's a maker or taker. I don't know where to find it exactly, but probably maybe it's in the order history. But yeah, regardless, based on the commission that you see, it is definitely counted as a taker, right? So here we paid a much higher fee compared to the other exchanges. So it just cost 7 cents. And then we have another question from Forex for everyone. You said if any one position is liquidated, we will face big loss. So what is the benefit of hedging the position on other exchange? The other position will not cover the loss made on one. So what I mean, like when you get liquidated on one exchange, right? So for example, here, if the price of JP225 drops to 76816, right? This is my liquidation price. So if price goes up here, the exchange will close my position. And when the exchange closes your position, you are basically sending, first of all, a market order, right? And if your position is big, you will get slipped a lot. And like when you do this type of arbitrage with a large account, these losses or slippages are going to be very big. So it's not about like whether you hedge with the other account or not. It's more about that when you exit the position at the liquidation price, in most cases, this exit price is going to be very bad for you, right? So it has nothing to do with hedging with other platforms. It just has to do with a simple fact that closing this position in the exchange causes slippages. It also unhedges your position, so you might also have risk on the other leg or other platform. So you might have unhedged risk if you don't manage it properly. And so these are the main reasons why the liquidation is so bad when you do an arbitrage like this. What's the difference between IOC and GTC? So IOC stands for immediate or cancel, which means that I want this order to be immediate, like I want to place this order here, or if I don't get filled, just cancel the order, right? So this is what IOC means. I just want a quick, just trade right now or not. And then for GTC, it stands for good till cancelled. So this order just stays in the market for until you decide to cancel it, right? So that's the difference between IOC and GTC. Okay, so let's continue with our dashboard. Okay, so here I'm just applying some, changes in the WebSocket. So Claude is doing some coding for me right now. And so as you can see, over the past 1 hour, here we've been having a lot of sell orders. So I think, yeah, let me zoom in like this, right? So now we are in a short position. So we've had a lot of sell orders. And so right now the price is like very, very overpriced. So we're now looking, to exit somewhere at zero, and hopefully, we'll find some exit soon. So people, as it seems, are buying a lot here on the exchange. All right, so I'm just waiting for Claude to finish, this task with the WebSocket disconnections, so I can then, proceed with implementing this new dashboard layout, so I can look at the dashboard in a slightly nicer way. Okay, so this is quite a big task, but I hope we should be done soon. Can we increase earnings? Probably, like there are two options. You either find a better symbol or you optimize a strategy on that specific symbol, right? Or you just increase the position size, right? So if you trade larger position size, then you will probably make more money, but then you also risk the chance of liquidation. So there's always some trade-off when you try to make more money. So yeah, so also guys, what I did here is that like the project got like very, very big within the past 2 days. So I had to make sure to know what the bot is exactly doing, because with Claude we added so many features, so many risk checks, so many, like if things go wrong, that we should do like reconnects, check that everything's okay. And so when the project gets like this big, right? So here you can see that our trainingbot.py already has over 500 lines of code. Uh, what I told Claude is like print me out a very simple description with the logic and all the like features of this strategy. So I have an exact overview what this strategy is doing, right? So here, what you can see is like we have so many like settings in the configurations. So you guys would also have to like understand what these settings do, and then exactly how the bot is starting. So Claude actually does a very good job at actually documenting what my training bot is doing, so I can like keep track of all the features and things, because then maybe tomorrow I'll wake up, I forgot what I did yesterday. So here this documentation is like very helpful to just know like what this bot is doing. And I think that's the main important part when you code with AI, is that it's very easy to lose track with all the features and stuff that you implemented. So that's why I decided to dump all the all logic into this file. And the same thing I also did like with hedge exposure with MT5. So this is my MT5 hedger. So here you can also see documentation how exactly we are hedging the HyperLiquid exposure with MetaTrader 5. And so while we were discussing that, I believe that we made roughly 2 cents in the meantime, which is great. And so let's just let this bot make money, and yeah, we'll observe. And I think that by the end of the week, as I've promised, I will put this project on GitHub, and so my members can then download it. And I also try to create like a simple documentation how to set up the strategy yourself. But we still have like time until end of week, so I can like again like make sure it's tested, and I want to make sure that nothing bad will happen on your end. Okay, we have another question. I'm not sure if you're already doing it, but would it not be beneficial to penny jump on a HyperLiquid as it's very small tick to maximize turnover while getting only slight worse prices? Uh, oh, you mean like jumping like between the smallest amount here? Uh, I'm not sure if it's like that easy or possible, and that is because we still have to pay a commission, right? So if we like try to optimize like based on pennies, like I'm not exactly sure what you mean by that. Uh, but here the minimum like price precision is like the is $1. right? So I actually don't quite understand the question, unfortunately. Okay, so Claude is actually working quite a lot on this task. But yeah, hopefully it seems that everything is done, so it's great. All right, so now let's try to get to the dashboard. So in dashboard .py, can you create a layout that looks like this? So I'm just going to give Claude an image, and hopefully Claude will understand what we want to do with this. And I think Claude is like quite smart to understand it. So I'm just going to paste the screenshot, and Claude will now do his thing. So here I'm like rewrite the dashboard.py. So right now it looks like this, and I want it to look like completely different. Around midnight, when the market is closed, almost every CFD broker increases the spreads like crazy. Do you think that will affect the performance of the bot? So what my bot actually is doing is it takes the spread into account, right? So when I provide the quotes, so I take the bid prices, right, for buy reference, and then the ask prices for sell reference. So when the spreads are wide, the bot will also adjust the signals based on the current spread. So this is already like included um, with that. So I don't think like performance would be affected, but well, it could affect, right? When the spread is high, you would get less signals, right? Because it would be more expensive to trade at this point in time. So like in theory, yes, or practically yes, you're right. When the spread is high, then our performance should slightly worsen. But um, like my trading bot makes sure, that we still do not lose money during the process. So what it would do is like it would trade less, but it would ideally not lose any money. Nice. So here we found an exit signal. So here our trading bot is buying again. Hopefully we'll get filled. And so if we get filled, right? So someone decides to sell here, that would be good for us because then our realized PNL would increase. So this is actually funny, guys. So when I saw like some Instagram reels or like YouTube shorts where people are actually coding by prompting, then scrolling their phone, it like sort of makes sense, right? Because Claude right now is like still working for 2 minutes, so in theory, like I could just scroll for 2 or 3 minutes, wait until it's done, um, and I understand now, how relatable it now is, like with the reels that I saw online. Okay, so Claude now suggested to, modify the dashboard.py. So here I'm not too concerned with, the changes because it's just a dashboard. So let's just run this and let's look at the layout of the new dashboard. What I meant is, would it not be better to try improve the best ask by the minimum amount at all times, here $1, such that if there is any buyers, then you're the one selling, to maximize turnover and benefit of the signal? I mean, yeah, that depends. Like in theory, you can like increase it by $1 or decrease it by $1. It basically almost, I mean, does not matter, right? So if there's, for example, a guy above you and you want to compete for a better price, then it makes sense to uh like make your spread tighter. But I think we're talking about some sort of micro optimization that if you backtest with a setting of like here, if you look at the stretch settings, right here, I'm trying to buy at minus 50, exit at 0. So maybe what you're trying to say is I should buy at minus 551 and maybe exit at 1, right? So here we are just talking about some micro optimizations where I think it does not really affect the general performance of the strategy. So if you actually want to, adjust the prices with the, if you actually want to adjust the prices, then I think you should just perform a full backtest with all these like entry and exit levels and see for yourself. And yeah, so hopefully I understood or answered your question somehow. Okay, so here my new dashboard should now be ready. So let me now restart this dashboard and see if there's any change. So now you see that I've done like small changes, right? So here we have the total net asset value of our account. So what the dashboard says is I have 2,600 US dollars roughly. And I think this is wrong because here the balance is 4,084 and here the equity is 1.7. I'll have to check that. So this is definitely wrong, right? The line with HyperLiquid. Here we have the trades, right? So here we can see all the individual trades. And so here we have the open positions on HyperLiquid and MT5. And here we have the commission, right? I think I need to make some changes. So first we need to review why the data here is wrong. And I think I will put trades placed today below commission and funding swap summary. So first I will tell Claude in dashboard.py, please swap account data and open position and swap commission summary with trades. Okay, so now I told Claude to swap the cards. Okay, so this is now done, so I can restart this app. I just want to solve these things because the open positions are a bit more important for me. And then if trades placed today wants to go like very low, it can also do that. Then I would like tell Claude maybe like in trades, like on HyperLiquid, we see that we have very small trades. So I would tell Claude to aggregate the trades by minute. Aggregate the trades by minute. So I want like every like record by minute to, you know, be like compressed, or maybe like in by hour, because then I can just compare like the average buys and the sells for each individual hour, and then I can like create like a very general uh yeah comparison with MT5. Okay, it seems like our bot is trying to buy, but no one wants to sell right now. It's like very interesting. But again, the liquidity is like super low, so I would say almost no wonder. But worst case, like in 18 minutes, we get another funding rate. So right now we made how much in funding? We made $3 in funding, so nothing's bad. Oh no, and I spilled a bit of my drink on the table, so be right back. I'm going to wipe it real quick. It's no problem, everything's fine. Okay, so here another change. And so maybe also like yesterday I tried to, you know, trade JP225. Maybe also once I'm done with the dashboard, we can also look at like other more liquid assets where we can like try to, you know, find better opportunities, because like JP225 has like very good return, right? It like so far on a 2K account that's funded, the return is very nice, but the liquidity is limited. So maybe we can also like look at other potential symbols that provide good return. I was looking at Nvidia, for example, right? Nvidia here has like right now a very high funding rate, like 37%. So when the US stock market opens, right? So if we go to Nvidia, we can also try to, you know, maybe hedge HyperLiquid Nvidia with MT5 Nvidia. I think that's also like something that we could try. Okay, so now the things have been swapped. I would also, let's say, let's do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. In trades, can you display maximum 10 trades in a row? So here the table is a bit too big for me, so I want, you know, to shorten this table a bit and just display the first 10 rows. Yes. And yeah, maybe I can also like try to, yeah, as I thought. So if I find any new trading like opportunity, let's just try to open like another like strategy. So then we could trade JP225, and then maybe some other symbols that we find, and then we can have like a portfolio of multiple strategies, and then we can always like look at the performance of these different strategies. It's a dashboard. So here's a question: is a dashboard generated by ChatGPT? No, but yes, we're using Claude code, so that's also AI to generate the dashboard for us, right? So right now here in PyCharm, you see that I have my Claude terminal open, and so basically Claude is editing my files here, and so whenever Claude applies some changes and I approve them, I can just restart the dashboard here and try to look at the new results. So here we can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I told Claude to display 10 trades in a row. And so so now I have to fix the issue with the account, right? So now Claude is telling me that the balance is 5,000 and so on, but this seems to be wrong. So I think the balance and equity in the account card is calculated wrong. How do you get the data? There should be roughly 1000 USDC on HyperLiquid. So we have another question. Did you choose IC Markets as a broker for some reason? Is that a good broker? Sometimes First Broker does not send your orders to real market and just paint a chart for you. So IC Markets is a broker I've been, trading with for many years. Like when I started trading, maybe uh, like 8 years ago almost, right? So I've been a client at IC Markets for a long time, and the main reason is that they have like very low spreads. But then you mentioned that the execution might not be so good. And then recently when I started like arbitrage trading or algo trading, I'm actually like not quite happy with them. So right now I'm in the process of like migrating to a different broker. So I'm like testing a broker who also accepts USDC deposits. So I'll let you know when that is done. And yes, I think like for everyday like manual trading where you don't algos, IC markets is fine, but sometimes the execution can get very, very nasty. Okay, so I will tell Claude that I see this in the dashboard. And then I will give Claude also the screenshot of this. It's like so nice that Claude also like can understand images, right? And so if I just here is the portfolio value on HyperLiquid. Thank you. Maybe simply use interactive brokers. Yes, interactive brokers would be like a great alternative, maybe if you trade futures. But the advantage with MT5 also is that like their spreads are actually much lower than you would see on like interactive brokers. So the the cost and also like the margin requirements are very attractive for this type of arbitrage. So sometimes I sacrifice like the quality of execution for opening like a larger position because then I can have a bigger margin. Plus, you don't pay any data fees on interactive brokers. Like I trade like on a company account, and so if you, for example, subscribe to CME as an institution, you pay $140 in data feeds per like connection. So if I, for example, trade gold, then trade US indices. So if I trade on CME, then on COMEX, and then on NYMEX, right, which are like the three venues, you would pay like $500 per month just to pay for a data feed. And so the biggest reason also why I still stick with MT5 is that I have all these assets like for free and available from one platform without having to deal with data feeds. Okay, so Claude just sent me something. Okay, uh, let's proceed with option A. Why is HyperLiquid such a big deal right now? Um, well, it depends on like what you want. So one reason is like, yeah, one answer is it's decentralized. So you can just use your own wallet and send money to this exchange without any KYC, and you can just start trading. Maybe you like 24/7 trading, right? So for example, crude oil was or is, I believe, the most traded asset on HyperLiquid. Let me see the perps right now and look at the most liquid assets in TradFi. Yeah, crude oil is right now the most like liquid asset on Hyperliquid. So you also gain like exposure on Saturday and Sunday, which you don't have uh, when you trade like with a treasury brokerage. And third, I designed my arbitrage strategies on Hyperliquid because I believe that on Hyperliquid the pricing is very inefficient compared to, you know, traditional exchanges, and so I find my edge on this exchange here. Okay, Claude. How do we get accounts to connect with MT5? Not sure if I'm asking this correctly. Basically, I need data feed, and like you're saying, other options are quite pricey. So what free options exist? Well, Hyperliquid is for free, right? You don't pay in data feeds here. And by the way, for retail, right, if you trade with interactive brokers and trade futures, the data feed only costs a few dollars, right? It's not that expensive if you trade with interactive brokers. But if you're talking strictly about free options, MT5 is free, Hyperliquid is free, or any other DEX is free, right? Uh, so on MT5, the data feed is already provided by your brokers, so you don't need to connect anything to MT5. This platform already uses the pricing provided by your own brokerage. Good point. It probably helps to earn perpetual swaps short term. Just have to make sure not to be in position when IC markets does daily or Wednesday swaps. Yes, swaps also play a role, like on Wednesdays, right? When you have like triple swaps, uh, that's a very good point. So if you, for example, trade Euro USD, you see that you have triple swaps on Wednesday, or on sometimes only sees this on Friday. So you might pay a much larger swap than necessary. But sometimes I like um, on some funding rate arbitrages when I trade them, sometimes it is even worth it to hold them during Wednesday because the opportunity was like so great. And so now in 4 minutes, right now the funding rate is still very high. We can expect to have another payout, and we'll see it in the funding rate history here. So here just to showcase like what we're doing, right? It's actually, in my opinion, quite crazy because like here we earn 12 cents, then 7 cents, 10 cents. Imagine if we had 10 times the amount, right? Of course, it's a lot of money. Then we need to have like a 10K account in HyperLiquid, then a 10K account in MT5, so 20K. But then we could make like $1 or like $2 every hour just because of the funding rates. So this could in theory work. I just need to make sure that there's actually enough liquidity on this pair. What is the dashboard built with? Plotly Dash? Yes, I told Claude to use Plotly Dash. The prompt was actually quite easy. I told Claude use Plotly Dash and use the DBC Darkly theme, right? So this is like the basic layout. And then what I did like before is I want to create this dashboard. I gave Claude this screenshot, and it already like created a dashboard that looks like this. So I think it's like quite amazing. And so right now I'm just in the process of, you know, verifying the data that it's correct and making sure that everything looks clean. And while I'm answering question here and checking the trades, all I'm actually doing is just pressing enter and just tell Claude, yeah, you can proceed. Like in theory, I could tell Claude, you know, allow all edits during the session, like, but then you're run at the risk of vibe coding without reading any code, which I'm sort of not doing anyways already, because when it comes to dashboards, I don't really care. But at least I'm trying, you know, to keep some habits. Like just running through it and looking at the changes already gives me a rough idea what's happening, but in reality, like I don't like read it that much. Okay. So let's restart the trading bot. I mean the dashboard. And now, so now we see that our spot balance is 1038, right? I think maybe like so this is the correct value. The HL spot is definitely the correct value. I think the reason why is that on HyperLiquid, if you have a small account, they have a unified account, right? And here we have a portfolio account. So I need to check at the account types and the way, you know, collateral is actually managed here. I think I'll use this. Account value must be less than 5 million to use portfolio margin in alpha mode. So I think it should be fine. So actually, I think to compute the net asset value, we just need to get the spot balance. Right. I figured it out. The correct portfolio value can be taken from the spot balance only. That is because the HyperLiquid account type is in unified mode. I'll try to not distract you too much. I'd be freaked out by doing this live if not on testnet. Don't worry about it. It's all right. It's all right because like it looks like a lot of money, right? It's $1,000 here and $1,000 on HyperLiquid, which is still a lot of money. But right now we're just doing dashboards. So with dashboards, I don't really care. Plus, it's always like nicer to talk about something than just being under pressure to perform and code in front of everyone. So I don't really mind. And it sounds like I'm under pressure, but usually like when I code myself, right, without Claude, I'm actually under pressure because I have to think. Here I just have to think and let Claude, yeah, take over the thinking actually. So especially with dashboards, it's actually not that difficult. So here we've applied some changes. Hopefully now we can run the dashboard with the correct data. So now my net asset value is 2,028 US dollars. I think the NAV is not correct yet because if you look at it, this is in euro and this is in USDC. So I need to convert the currencies to USDC, right? Total NAV does not take exchange rate into account. Can you display NAV in USDC or in USD, where USDC is equal to USD, and for euro use the current exchange rate on MT5. Nice, and it seems we've found some buy positions, so this is great. For some reason, today's realized it's -2. I'll have to check that because I think that's also wrong. I would assume that we're in profit, I just started making bots with Claude and ChatGPT, most in Polymarket MT5. HyperLiquid is extremely exciting. Yes, HyperLiquid is like super exciting. Finally, you can, how would I say it? Like trading in HyperLiquid is like super cheap when it comes to like the TradFi section, right? So here you see the fees are 0.003% or 0.9%. Like maybe the only downside on HyperLiquid is that the funding rates are not like very stable, right? So usually in Treasury Finance or MT5, you have like swaps that are charged like every 24 hours, right? And they're like static. So you know what you're gonna pay in funding rates. On HyperLiquid, on the other hand, these funding rates can like get very, very high. And so sometimes you hold a position, which is quite normal, and then for some reason in the evening you pay like $100 minus in like funding fees because the funding rates are so high. And so maybe that's the only downside, but for us as arbitrage traders, this is actually an advantage for us, right? So I'm talking more about like general retail convenience, but for us, this is actually our edge. So we actually love this. Okay, so I told Claude to, convert USDC to USD and then Euro to USD so we can have the correct net asset value in our dashboard. Do you want to proceed? Yes. Okay, so let's check the dashboard now. Hopefully, now the currencies should be correct here. So now it seems that it's correct because let me just take out my calculator and do like a manual check. So we take 1041 plus 987, that's 2000. And then if we multiply it by 1.15, I assume that's the exchange rate right now. Or what is euro USD exchange rate? I need to check. 1.16. So here the total net asset value is 2190. Oh, and the reason why is I'm summing it up, but this is already in USDC, so I just need to take 992 times 1.16, and then I have to add 1041. My bad. So it's correct. USDC is not always exactly USD. Yeah, that is correct, but I'm like doing this like approximation roughly. Um, but that is definitely correct. Because the reason why is I don't have any like external data feed to give me the USDC price, right? Because on HyperLiquid you don't see USDC USD, on MT5 you don't see it, so I just assume it's one-to-one here. I've just started working on HyperLiquid, Polymarket, exciting new things. Mixing outcomes with perpetuals looks exciting. The API for outcomes seems so messy right now though. Yeah, I haven't looked at Polymarket or like prediction markets yet. It is something that I really want to explore. And yeah, so over time we'll have a look at it. So I don't even know what the API looks like, but we'll see how it goes. Like what is crazy, for example, like I went to like Polymarkets, right? Like in the evening, like I'm not betting. I've never like placed a bet on Polymarket yet, uh, because of course I'm not trying to be a degenerate gambler. What I'm trying to do is like find some arbitrage opportunities or like guaranteed profits. But so what I was looking at in my free time, like yesterday in the evening, like I was looking at Bitcoin, and they basically have reintroduced binary options on the 5 minute time frame. That is like so crazy because binary options used to be very popular maybe like 10 years ago, and then they banned it, right? Because it was straight gambling, and so it was banned. And the funny thing is like, okay, now with Polymarket, with Kalashi, all those prediction markets, and they all decided to just reintroduce a product that was globally banned everywhere. So now we have binary options on Bitcoin, right? But the good thing is like it's like all exchange traded, so you have actual like order book, liquidity providers, and for Bitcoin, I think like there is no way to manipulate the price. So at least like the infrastructure for betting uh, is not shady, right? Because you have like a real exchange and like a real verifiable pricing. But still, the product on its own, which is like binary options, is like still crazy to see. And like for us, like yeah, it's a bad product like for the planet, but yeah, we'll see where it goes. Right? So people just place their bets. 5 minutes are over. It's probably gonna be the biggest roulette uh, I've seen this year. Like this binary option thing, it's like actually crazy. Okay, so the net asset value is correct. Um, Okay, in dashboard.py, can you add the column realized P&L with the breakdown for each platform? So again, pasting images. Pasting images is like super cool with Claude. And so 2 days ago, there was a guy who like told me I should use like add dashboard.py, you know, so I can tell Claude like what file I'm referencing. I forgot the dude's name, but I'm very thankful that you guys on chat are like helping me out learning to use AI. Because again, like I started using AI literally on Saturday 16th, right? That's the first time I tried using Claude Code, and since then I'm like not even 2 weeks have passed, and we've done like so much work. So I'm like so impressed by Anthropic and like what product they created. I still can't believe it, right? Like within 2 days, we've coded like a sort of like an actually functioning trading bot, right? That's now trading on JP225. So hopefully today there will be no crash, and then I can just report the P&L. Of course, there are a lot of features that have to implement it, but the trading bot is working, and so now we're doing this dashboard with Claude. Okay, so we've added the realized P&L to our dashboard. Great, so now we've added all the things. So I think now I can restart the dashboard again. And yeah, here we have added the realized P&L, so it's plus 1.92. Cost period 5.58 minus 5.58. It's all on JP225. Maybe it's converted to USD, but I don't think so. So here's minus 5.58. Also, like unrealized is in minus, right? So here unrealized we have 4.39 USD, and here we have 4.6. So this is actually correct. So I just need to check the today's unrealized. And also I think we should include the funding, which is included in that one. So maybe, okay, let me do some calculation on paper, but maybe it's correct because as I mentioned, it crashed overnight, right? The train bot crashed overnight. So I had some unhedged exposure for a few hours. That could potentially be it. So let me just compare it. So relate to the stream, what's the diff between that asset value and your floating P&L? Also, what's your principal? 2,000 euro. Oh, no worries to be late on the stream. You guys come whenever you want to. No need to apologize. So net asset value, or the NAV or NAV, is just the sum of the equity, right? So it's the total portfolio value of my HyperLiquid account and the portfolio value of my MT5 account. And so here I have converted the values to USD. And so right now the sum of both platforms is roughly 2,191 USD. And so that's it. And so the floating PNL is just the current sum, the like the current PNL of my open positions. So here I have plus 5.51 open, and here on MT5 I have minus 5. And so the sum of this should then reflect the unrealized PNL. So what we have here is, okay, on MT5, the realized PNL is minus 3.7. Okay. But here on MT5, it's minus 5.38, if you can see that. Let me also look at the swap. So this also includes a swap. Commission is 0. And so I think we have a small reporting error, and like I'll have to investigate that. And on HyperLiquid, the realized PNL is here plus 1.92. So maybe there's also like potentially like a time zone difference between like HyperLiquid and MT5. Maybe we're taking the wrong time interval, so this needs some debugging. But yeah, okay, guys. In the meantime, I'll take a quick bathroom break. So be right back. I'll be back in a few minutes, and then we can continue debugging. All right. So yeah, what we need to do is we need to review review the data here, because as I said, I assume that I should be in profit, but I'm not. So here the unrealized P&L is very high now. So this value, this can fluctuate a bit because the positions are like still open. So this value only like implies what I would make, but I still need to check that today's realized. So as you can see here on MT5 today, my loss is minus 5.58, so it's actually larger here. And then we should check, what the value is here on HyperLiquid. And this value should not include any swaps. Oh, okay, here we see a very sharp increase, and now the funding rates are up at 130%. So can you guys see that? So here, like in the last like funding period, we earned 34 cents, right? So this is like really good for us. So here, this is also like a very nice profit. So our funding profits are increasing. I think the best thing to do is can you save MT5 trades and HyperLiquid trades that were placed today in CSV so I can review them? So I'm asking Claude to help me like review the trades that will have debugging, because the realized PNL can be is computed from the closed positions that we have on HyperLiquid MT5. So I just need to review that. Let's say the market looks very interesting right now. We have like a big increase in Euro USD. Let's see what Bitcoin looks like. Okay, also a spike up. And here USD JP is going down. And here it's going up. How much do you think you can make per day with this bot per day with 2K like euros balance? Like so far it's like difficult to predict. So there are like two factors, right? The market situation can change, but I think it's possible to make maybe between $1 and $3 per day right now on JP225, which is like really good, right? So because if you assume that this trading bot makes $2 per day, plus we also have to assume that it won't trade over the weekend because there's no reference price during the weekend. So we have 220 days in a year. That would be 440. So if you divide that by 2000, right, which is yeah, our initial investment or capital, that's 22%. If it makes 3, then it would be like 33%, which is a really good return, right? And then we can also add like compounding interest up to a certain size. And I think I'm also not maximizing the capital like fully, right? In theory, I think I could like increase the position size maybe by another like 50% if I try to. So yeah, here I told Claude to, help me export the trades for today so I can review it, and we'll see, you know, if there's a mistake in the total summary. I mean, another way to compute the profits would also be maybe to like just measure the total net asset value, right? Which is here we can just, save 1 second or 1 minute snapshots of this value, and then over time you should like see this value going up. Okay, so here we have our script export trades.py, and so let's try to run this. And okay, so now we have two outputs, two CSV files, and it is in the folder trades. So here we have our trades on HyperLiquid. Looks all good to me. And here we have our trades on MT5. So I think I might know the issue now. Trades are missing in MT5 for the past 3 hours. Can you investigate? So here there should be a function deals today. Should add 3 hours in MT5 still today for now UTC. Okay, this is just my suggestion. In theory, I could maybe, write plus time delta, but I'll let Claude, to fix it himself, because then maybe if Claude fixes it, he can also fix the other dashboard. By the way, how's your USDC USD Revolut thing doing? Is it still running live? Yes, I can show you. Let me open my Revolut exchange account. So we've started here last week, right? And so we were at 10,660 something, right? And 64, right? So here you can see the 10,064 when we started. And then like every day it just traded and it's just going up. So this is basically, the equity curve of the pure USDC USD market making. So right now we are at 76. Here, this little drop is just a floating P&L because right now I believe that the price of USDC is quite low, but the P&L curve has been doing very nicely since last week. Is this code already in the subscription? So what I've done is I've already published the code on my Discord server. I just added the raw files from yesterday, both for the USDC market making and also for the HyperLiquid trading bot with yesterday's version. But they're like raw and still incomplete, but you can already check it out. And I'm planning to, add all members to my GitHub project by the end of this week. So I will upload mainly this HyperLiquid arbitrage bot to my GitHub, so you guys can try to do it yourself. I'm doing my best, like to finish this project, finish the dashboard, and also add like a guide or instructions how to deploy it yourself. So yeah, the USDC market making is actually doing like pretty well. Assuming that it's been running just a week, so we've made how much? 64, 76 is 12 US dollars in a week. So how much is 12 times 52? It's 624 divided by how much? We put 10,000 there, right? So maybe it's not the best, it's just 6%. We might be slightly better than a savings account, but we'll see, right? I think uh, it still has some potential. And right now I'm like market making at like the top of book. Maybe if I come back to this project, I can maybe increase the spread, right? Maybe quote at 98 and 102, which means I would make double the amount on a round turn. And I think I could, in theory, try to do that, right? Uh, but yeah, but the point of this project is like mainly show you, that there are risk-free opportunities when you have like zero maker fees, and USD is like one of the easiest strategies that you can actually trade, right? So like I really like this project because it's very simple and it's just gonna let my money be there, and still 6% is like a very, very, very good savings account in my opinion, that I can withdraw at any time, right? That's also like one big thing. I can just withdraw my money and trade it whenever I need it. Okay, so here we've tried to fix the export of identified trades. Okay, another question, is arbitrage still possible nowadays with all firms full of PhDs? Well, maybe first opinion is that don't let people's PhDs think that you're worse than them, because even without PhDs, there is a lot that you can achieve without a title. And to answer this question, yes, it's possible. So this strategy in HyperLiquid, for example, does not require any like super low latency, technology. This strategy is like very simple. It is a normal medium frequency arbitrage where you have opportunities lasting minutes or even hours. And also we're focusing on like assets that are also suitable for retail traders, which means traders who are not that well capitalized. So here this strategy you can definitely trade without any PhD or any fancy technical setup. And that's what I'm trying to prove to you guys, right? So me sitting here trying to code these scripts, with Claude AI, within 2 days we created this string strategy that's already making money. Hopefully, right? I'm still doing the review here, but at least we have like this USDC market making bot that made money, and we have this strategy that will soon, uh, show green numbers. So I'm working on this, and so yeah, it's definitely possible. So now our trading bot is quoting buys. So we're trying to, find an exit level, but so far, right, the funding rate is like still very high, right? So in 23 minutes, if it stays high like that, you might still make like 30 cents, right? in another hour, which is also really nice. Okay, right, and here we have the things. So I told Claude that there's a bug in extracting the MT5 data, and I told Claude like to review this, and Claude agreed with me, which is great. So I'm praying that maybe we'll find the data will be updated. Something's telling me that it's not going to be fully fixed, but we can still try. Okay. And now it's trying to sell again. Yes, I feel like that maybe we should increase the like maximum position size, right, to improve the profits here. Because we still have like a lot of margin, so maybe strategy could earn a bit more. But okay, let's have a look at the changes still. And so far my trading bot hasn't crashed, so that's also nice. But I still need to check, right? What is your current background? Well, I dropped out from engineering school, so I don't have any PhD, unfortunately, nor do I have like an engineering degree. But when I quit university, I found a job in a prop trading firm. So FTMO, if you've heard about the company, so I've worked there for like 5 or 6 years, and there I learned a lot about trading because there I was in charge of like the trading infrastructure and risk management and like general data analytics. So there I learned a lot, to work with Python to analyze data. And during my employment there, I also, started writing my own trading algorithms. But only like after I quit my job, I really like tried to pursue algorithmic trading. And so most of the things that I'm showing you here, uh, I actually learned after I quit my job, and that was like two 2 years ago actually, or 2.5 years ago, which is quite a long time. Okay, dashboard is done. Okay, now MetaTrader 5 is minus 5.28. Yep, this is correct because here we have minus 5.28. The swap is minus 22. HyperLiquid realize is 1.77. Which is probably right because I exported the data on HyperLiquid here. So here, this is all the trades that was placed on HyperLiquid. I can also try to verify that, like here in the HyperLiquid platform. So if we go to trade history, which is here. So here we see all the trades. So the time here is saved 1440, so it is saved in like local time. And so if I scroll back to the 27th, the earliest record here is at 1 a.m. 48. So I think these trades should also be included. Is arbitrage 100% risk-free investment? Well, first of all, don't be sorry for asking questions. I actually like it when people ask questions. It makes the stream actually more enjoyable to talk about something. And second, is arbitrage 100% risk-free investment? The answer is no. It is, I would say, almost a risk-free investment if you do it correctly. And so the main risk with arbitrage is, well, first of all, you hedge between two exchanges. So liquidation is a risk, right? If you get liquidated on one account, that means that if on one account you lose your margin, and that could cause a loss. The second risk is like slippages, right, and execution risk. But other than that, it should be almost risk-free if you do it correctly, right? But again, the liquidation risk is very like serious, so you should really uh, make sure that you always have enough margin when you trade. Um, so okay, here I'm reviewing HyperLiquid trades. I reviewed HyperLiquid trades from today, but I think that some trades are still missing from today. On the HyperLiquid platform, I see some trades being closed at 01:49:48 in the morning. Can you please check? Okay, so we're still debugging. One thing I've actually noticed, actually I remember, I think, is that on HyperLiquid and MT5, the way they calculate the closed PNL can also vary sometimes. And that is that because the unrealized PNL can be like very high on HyperLiquid. And I think on MT5, they just use the, how do they compute it? The first in, first out rule. Yeah, I think there are like different ways to compute the closed PNL, but when everything closes, then I hope that it should then all be in profit. But anyways, the MT5 closed PNL is correct. Now I'm checking the HyperLiquid closed PNL if that's correct. So let's hope that, yeah, we're going to fix that. Kermodin asked, hi, where can I get free API Forex market codes to build spread charts between crypto exchanges and CFD on 5-minute timeframes? Uh, well, I think the easiest thing to do is you sign up to some MT5 broker, right? You get an MT5 account. It can also be a demo account. And then you integrate some, Python script that will extract the charts and the data. And then you can like try to create your own chart between crypto and CFDs. So I think that this is probably the best way uh, you can do it. And also like when we created uh, like this project, right? So in the beginning, when I tried to show you an example, XY is in silver. So here I have in this project, calculate historical spread, where we're like exactly extracting the historical OHLC data from HyperLiquid MT5, and then we compute the spread between those two platforms, right? So here we can compare the data and then compute the differences between these assets. And in this example, I think it's on Nvidia. Uh, so Nvidia HyperLiquid and Nvidia MT5. So here I'm connecting to this MT5 platform, and then I'm also connecting to this HyperLiquid exchange here. So this is what I'm using. Okay, another question, one more speculative question. If you manage to build an algorithm that successfully exploits arbitrage, why would you share it with the public instead of just printing money? And the truth is, or let me ask you a question. How much money do you need to retire or go full time, right? So first you need to ask yourself a question, or ask yourself, how much money am I able to make with trading? And me personally, I am like targeting 20 to 30% per year with my arbitrage trades. And so I could try to make more, but then as I said, I risk liquidation. Being too greedy is also stressful. And the 20 to 30% is like a sweet spot. And if I do more, I'm of course like very happy, right? So now my assumption is I make 20 to 30% per year. Let's just say 30%. If I have a 200K trading account, right? So it is like combined trading account with 200K, making 30% equals $60,000 per year. Or like, no, how much is that? So I have a 200K account times 30%, right? 0.3. I make $60,000 per year. So then there are taxes. So if you like deduct taxes, right? So here in Czech Republic, I just use times 0.7. My net income is 42,000 per year. And I have a family to feed. I have 2 employees. I have an office to rent. And there are like a lot of things that I have to, that I've spent on. Also, there's like this trading infrastructure that I have. So the reality is that even though most traders do not have 200,000 like on their account, like this is like a lot of money, 200,000. And it also took me a lot of years to, save up this amount of money. It's impossible for me to retire with this capital, right? So even though even though this arbitrage works, I could trade myself, I have too many expenses and responsibilities, and for that reason, I'm trading and I'm also teaching how to trade. And so I'm also trying to build different ways, to build income. So this is my answer to your question, why I am like sharing the strategy. And personally, like someone would like ask, if I share a strategy, will the edge go away? Right? That's a legitimate question. And like I was asking myself the question for a very long time. Like last year or like for 2 years, I was trading arbitrage and I made like very good money with arbitrage trading. And that's also the reason like while I'm still alive and not working for a corporate. Uh, but I was like very protective of my own strategies. And then one day I woke up and I realized there are so many hedge funds, banks, professionals, people with PhDs, right? Why does this arbitrage exist with all these big institutions out there? Why am I able to arbitrage JP225 USDC? And the answer is because the markets will always be inefficient. There will always be traders, who will be degenerate gamblers, who will, trade at prices that are, not correct. There will always be exchanges, that are not that popular. And so I was thinking, okay, so if it comes to the point where the arbitrage disappears, it means I've taught so many students, you know, how to actually arbitrage it correctly, and then I will probably make money one way or another by like teaching my students, or either the edge will still remain, I can still like trade it myself. So this is like my opinion on, why I'm sharing the strategies. So another question, what do you think about lead coin lag logic in crypto? Backtest with WFA, walk forward analysis, and permutation tests. Current building a massive string bot backtester. Uh, I, I'm not exactly sure what you mean by that, but maybe I have a rough idea. But but the way I backtest, right, is I don't use like walk forward analysis. I just use like a normal backtest, right? I use like a optimal backtest permutation based on the current period, and then I always adjust my trading parameters based on the best results. Maybe some people would call it like over optimization, something like that, but it's like a very simple backtest that just adapts to the current market situation. Because when it comes to like arbitrage, and market making, the conditions change like very fast, right? Sometimes the spread is tight, sometimes the spread is very wide, sometimes liquidity is low and high. And I think using historical data, you can't like apply certain strategies with changing market conditions. But that's what probably walk forward analysis is for, right? To adapt to current market conditions. So this is like sort of what I'm doing, but I don't like have like solid like concepts how people do that, right? Again, I don't have any what do you call it? I'm like self-educated. I never took a course. I never took an algorithmic trading course. Everything I'm building here is basically just the internet, uh, just learn with AI, and just trying to validate my own ideas. 500K to 1 million. What do you mean by that? And Avi asked, do you hire? No, right now I don't hire. I have like one colleague who's in charge of operations, like business operations and trading operations, and a second guy who's on holiday and he's helping me with the IT part. Uh, Maybe in the future I'll think about it. Maybe if my community gets bigger, right? I'm trying to build like a trading community, teach you guys arbitrage trading, and so when the community gets bigger, maybe I'll need like more moderators. Maybe I'll need people to help me, maintain the Git projects, right? Maybe I'll need people, to assist, with the documentation and setting up virtual private servers and all this and that. But this is like all I wish, when the community gets bigger. Right now, it's like still in the beginning. I've started like streaming a week ago, 1 or 2 weeks ago. I released again started releasing a video a month or two ago. So we're like still in the early stages of the project. So I used to build this kind of arbitrage robot, especially in cross-exchange crypto funding rate, but after some live trades, I realized that the hidden slippage fee is too much. Yes, this is actually quite common. So when I also like did arbitrage strategies in the beginning, mainly futures against CFDs, so it was interactive brokers against MT5. Uh, I was really struggling like with getting very good and precise execution, but I think HyperLiquid and MT5 is much easier because the price discrepancies are like that big. So it's actually much easier like to find good execution. And so another question or just a comment. Even with ATR-based thresholds, ATR-based trailing, I've been learning with AI for 2 years now. Regards from Vienna. Great. I've been studying Germany's, also hallo und Grüße aus Prag. So ATR-based thresholds. So what I do with thresholds, I actually use standard deviation. I like to use Bollinger's, so I just look at the historical spread and then either use Z-score or Bollinger Bands. This is like my approach to apply these entry and exit levels. And I've been learning with AI for 2 weeks, so you are like 2 years ahead of me. So I have a lot to catch up to. And then another comment from Brian was, I saw a great backtesting approach the other day, doing sample test, the OOS test to see if there's a correlation. Want to see rubbish. All right, these are like some numbers I don't really understand, but you can like maybe provide extra context with this. But yeah, so we've been discussing a lot of like backtesting and approaches. So there are like very good ways to actually backtest approaches. Right now, as you guys can see, I only have like a static enter and exit level, right? So I enter when the spread is minus or plus 50, and I exit when it's like at 0 again, right? So it's like a very static approach. And I think good way to optimize this would be like to use the historical spread and like try to, you know, optimize these levels. I think this would be like a very good improvement for us. Okay, let's go back to Claude. And I'm very happy that, you know, there's a lot to talk about on the live stream. You know, sometimes I'm like, sometimes coding for like 6 or 8 hours without talking to anyone can be very depressing. And this is what I've been doing, like, for example, December, right? In December, for first time, I went to a crypto exchange. I tried to create my first arbitrage bot with Kraken. And like the results were pretty good, but the liquidity was quite limited. So I spent a lot on commissions in the beginning, you know, to get to a, like a low commission tier. And then I moved to HyperLiquid. But during this winter, I was just drinking coffee and club mate for, you know, all day. And this was before AI, right? So I was just implementing WebSockets, strategies, risk controls, and all of that. And I had actually no one to talk to. So it was like very, very depressing winter. But I learned a lot of things on the way, like how to, you know, create arbitrage strategies on crypto and DEXs. So in the end, it was actually worth it. All right, Brian, in sample versus out sample test, and if there's any correlation, right? I understand that. I think you should make a dashboard showing the current price spread on JP225 in HyperLiquid MP5 and draw a Bollinger Band on it. That is a great suggestion, and I believe that I'm going to do that. But first, I need to make sure that the data that you see is correct, right? So I reviewed the realized P&L on MT5. Now I'm reviewing the realized P&L on HyperLiquid, making sure that all the data is correct, and then we can add the like market data, right? Which would be uh, another nice feature. So great suggestion. What are you currently trading? So currently we're arbitraging JP225, which is the Japanese stock index on HyperLiquid, and we're hedging that against MT5 JP225. Right now, JP225 on HyperLiquid is like more expensive than the MT5, so here we decide to short it. So we sold here on HyperLiquid, and we bought here MT5. And now we're just waiting to get like an exit level where the price difference will then even out. And so here we see that occasionally we see some like buy exits. And the reason why it works is that like the spread is like very high, right? So um, like right now we are getting sell and buy signals at the same time, which is great just because the spread is so large. So another optimization that I was thinking about is maybe I can like create two threads, right? Where we quote the bid and ask at the same time. And that way, maybe we can like also increase the turnover and volume of the strategy. So this is also another improvement that I was thinking about. Hi Tu, how you guys came up with Prague? We end up in Cyprus and found some Cayman. Well, I was born in the Czech Republic, so Prague is the city where I grew up, and so I have my family here. So my parents they moved in from Vietnam, but I was born here and I live here, so that's why I'm in Prague. And I know Czech, and I have Czech friends, so I love the city. And so I was also in Cyprus, right? So in my previous job, when I was working like for FTMO, we would like fly to Cyprus once or twice a year, you know, visit our partners, other brokerages, liquidity providers, and so on. So Cyprus is like really nice, and like I enjoyed, my visits there. Nice beaches. Uh, well, the the warm weather and beaches are like big plus. I love beaches, so um, that's great. Do you use maker orders on both sides? No, I use maker orders on HyperLiquid to reduce the cost, and MT5 because it's an OTC provider. You're basically just a taker, right? You can just buy or sell based on the quotes provided by your broker. And another question, what tool are you using to stream? I like YouTube comments next to the feed. Nice job. Yeah, thanks a lot. I do the YouTube comments. So, when I edit, when I want to like share, uh, what is it? Yeah, share some edited content, right, on YouTube Shorts or Reels or whatever. The content is like really nice to share also. I use Streamlabs. So if you look at this platform here, like I can share with you guys, probably nothing sensitive here. Uh, Here you just download Streamlabs. It's from Discord, right? So Discord create Streamlabs, and here you can like create your different widgets and icons and stuff like that. So this is what I'm using. It was quite simple to set up. And then another question, how do you find what to trade? And so right now, I just scroll manually. So I just look, at symbols with high funding rates, and like JP225 is one of those. So, uh, but what we're working on is like we're planning to together build a dashboard where we can have like a monitoring system and provide us like with the best current trading opportunities. And so what I would do like in the morning, like before, I would, just scroll through some assets here, right? And I would, just star my favorite ones. And then I would look at the funding rates, right? Look at symbols where the funding rate is very low. And here you can, for example, try to buy. Well, maybe not this one. And here you can try to sell. So right now, JP225 has the highest funding rate for shorts because the annualized like funding rate is 32%. So here it makes sense to short it and then buy it in MT5. And here, as you can see, we're buying it, but we're exiting because spread is so high. So we are already short on this asset. So yeah, this is what I'm doing. And I mentioned that we can like try to open a trade on Nvidia, right? Because if you look at like some of the stocks here and the stock market is now open, we can also try to find a setup on Nvidia that would actually make sense. The thing is, I don't know if Nvidia is cheap enough on MT5. Probably it should be cheap enough, but they also charge like 2 cents per per stock. So here in total I would pay like 6 cents spread plus commission to open a trade on Nvidia on MT5. So how about like we can do that? I think I can show an example. I just need to finish this thing here with the dashboard, review the HyperLiquid trades, make sure that everything's correct, and then we can try opening an extra trade in Nvidia today, and hopefully that would make money today. And then we'll get to the point, where we'll have like multiple strategies, and then we'll have a dashboard for a strategy. There's like still a lot of things to do. Can you repeat the type of orders your MT5 broker allows in the market orders, and for HyperLiquid use limit orders? Well, what I meant is like there are like type of orders, and there's also a difference between maker and taker. So on HyperLiquid, if you trade as a taker, it means you are taking liquidity from the order book. So you will usually pay more. So here you would pay like more as a perps taker. And if you add maker orders, so you add liquidity to your order book, you will pay a lower commission. Also, when you're a maker, you can also quote prices at like a favorable price, so you will also make money on the spread, which is very advantageous. And what I meant with MT5 is that on MT5 there is no maker or taker, right? Because on MT5 the broker is always your counterparty, which means your limit order, even though you have a limit order, it will always get filled, let's say your buy limit at an ask price. So you can't do market making, you can't make money on those spreads. Scalping is very difficult, and you will always basically be filled at the bid and ask of your broker. And of course, like you can send like, buy limits, right? Like here you can send buy limits, which is a limit order, but that limit order would still be filled at the ask price of your MT5 broker. And okay, so which CFD brokers can you recommend over MT5? Uh, I would say all CFD brokers are to some extent the same. What I mean by that is that the platform may be different. There can be like CTrader, there can be MT5, it can be a broker like eToro, with their own UI. But at the end of the day, all the flow is going to, some liquidity pool where they, execute your trades. And like if you go up the chain in the liquidity pools, right, there is always like a few big players, who provide the liquidity. You will always end up, at, so basically what I'm trying to say is that just look for CFD brokers that have low spreads, low commissions, fair swaps, but you will not find like CFDs are CFDs. So CFDs were designed, to always, uh, how do I say it, to screw you over. That's what I'm trying to say. Because in CFDs, there are so many like things where a broker will try to suck money from you, right? And I can show you, some examples. So for example, even though Euro USD looks cheap, right? It has only like a 0 point spread, but the broker, they will like always charge like 3.25 euro commission, so they will always make money commission. Also the swap, right? Why should you pay -8 points swap on Euro USD? Like, first of all, like most traders should not start with margin trading, because if I show an example, what does this -8 mean on MT5? The -8 on MT5 only means that you will pay for long positions on USD 0.000. How many zeros are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 0.8. You will pay this amount times 365 in a year, right? And then we divide this by the current exchange rate of Euro USD. So here the implied annual rate is 2.5%, right? Which is the difference in the interest rates between Euro and US dollar. But this value should be like 6 or 5, and traders don't know it. So there are always these little markups that traders don't know about, and this is taking away like from their edge. So they always spread markups, swap markups. It's actually quite sad. But for us, we use MT5 because they provide good margin, low intraday spread. So it's actually just important to know, to avoid the things where we might bleed money and just, maximize the things that are actually good for us. Okay, then I had a little bit long rant about CFDs. Also arbitrage funding rate. I thought you're arbitraging spread. I'm doing both. By arbitraging the spread, right, when it's high or low, you automatically also get good funding rates. So it is a funding rate arbitrage and a spread arbitrage at the same time. So we have two types of edge doing this strategy. So here we get something funding, and we should also get something in the realized P&L. Let me restart dashboard. Maybe we already have some updates here. Okay, Miroslav Belov. Okay, thanks. But limit orders at HyperLiquid can't simply be not leaving your with one only like, which is a risk. Right. So what I'm doing is, of course, once I get filled on a HyperLiquid, so when the limit order gets filled, my trading bot also immediately places a market order to MT5 to hedge that exposure. Let's say just ARB funding rates cross arbitrage for low frequency and ARBs can last for weeks and months. Yes, that's true. Like this is like a low frequency strategy. We're just looking at like price discrepancies that can last, as I said, hours, sometimes in days. I've never had a trade lasting, uh, you know, more than like a week or two, right? But as long as the price discrepancy is there, uh, this provides us with good opportunity, on the funding rate arbitrage. And so there are days when the spread is very narrow and we can like have many trades during the day, or like the spread is very large, we get a very large spike and then it hovers there for many hours or days, and then you have very low like low setups, low frequency of setups, but then you make money of funding. So it's like a combination, like a hybrid of those two strategies. All right, and then prop challenges, right? Props are a, an interesting topic, I think, a very interesting topic, and yeah, I used to trade them, but I just decided to stop. Okay, so on HyperLiquid it's minus 4.1, 5, 4.7. Okay, I still need to review this, but let's export trades. But I think the unrealized PN is correct. So here we have plus 3.65, and here in trade we have minus 1.5. So this is correct. This is correct. And then I need to confirm whether it's 4.51. And there's a chance that we might actually be in a loss today, but I think we can easily get out. But here it's minus 9.68. Yeah, that's very sus. Well, broker using MT5. I'm using capital point trading right now, but I'm moving away from them soon. So, hedging on HyperLiquid Lighter on Paradex altcoins have very good funding rates. Yes, this is also something that we can do, like doing a DEX versus DEX arbitrage. This also, offers like good opportunities, like in terms of like rebalancing, because then you can just transfer funds from a DEX to another DEX within a few minutes, right? So you don't need this complicated process of rebalancing between MT5. So this is also like one way to do it. Okay, 100, 2,197. So today in funding plus 2.12, in commission minus 18 makes them swaps minus 26. Correct. But HyperLiquid is minus 4.51 and MT5 is minus 4.74. So either somewhere the bot made an error, right? And I have to investigate it. Or it might have crashed ahead overnight, but I still doubt I'm minus 9. But I think we can just maybe focus on this value right now, right? 2,197, and as long as this number goes up slowly, then we should be okay, I think. So in the meantime, I will probably review the trades off stream just to make sure, but maybe we can then focus on different things. So let's change the topic now. And like this dashboard, I will just observe and review numbers. Right now, I'm interested maybe in opening another hedge, maybe on Nvidia, or we'll like look at the symbols. And then we had, I think, suggest from Wanga to show the spread on the dashboard, right? So here Right now I have the spread in my Jupyter notebook that I can review, and then we can also try to apply a backtest here. So we can also try to do that. So yeah, let's just try to open our test trade, and then we can like create a second dashboard where we can then check the settings for, let's say, Nvidia. But let's just scroll and see if we maybe find a different opportunity than Nvidia. But Nvidia is like my plan B in case we don't find anything. So based on funding rates right now, Nvidia is the highest right now. And based on the lowest, Apple is quite low. And then we can also like try to look at, other deployers. So this is XYZ, this is Felix. So here, nothing special here. And here we have crypto assets. And here we have KM. KM might also be interesting. Yeah, we have silver USDH, right? So silver has minus 25% funding rate. The volume is not too bad. It's actually quite low. It's just 600,000. But we could try to do that. So here I'm just doing some screening of assets where we can, try to open, like right now, like a funding rate arbitrage, or we're just looking like at assets with very high price discrepancy right now. And then in cash, we have these assets here. Amazon is very high here. So here, Amazon USDT has a 43% funding rate. Here, the liquidity or 24-hour volume is 1.6 million. That could work. So I think, yeah, let's stick with XYZ Nvidia. I just did a quick screening, and let's try to open the trade. So yeah, let's check some more comments here. I had a strategy with a Sharp of 2.4, and my calculation was that I need an average around 4 tires to pass them. It's easy to raise money from investors, huh? Oh yeah. Do you full-time algo trade? Yes, I just go to work every day like this. Like when I don't live stream, I just, focus on my trading accounts. I trade, and also like my colleagues, they also trade. Like they help me with, monitoring the accounts, and they have their own accounts also. So I do it full time. What made you choose JPY for your strategy compared to the other index funds or stocks? The reason is that right now the funding rates are very good. So right now it's just 29%, but this morning it was like around 100%. So here, if you look at then the historical funding, I got like really good like funding payments, which is really nice. And so in a sense, this was a good funding rate arbitrage. But now it seems that the price is slowly reverting back to to its mean, and now we are actually trying to slowly exit our position. So we start with 0.04 at the start of the day, and now here we're quoting by limits, and so hopefully we'll get filled over time soon. And so look at Paradex. If you're looking for funding ARB, they have low volume open interest, but once you get filled, you will farm. I mean, I've looked at Paradex, and yeah, so one of the reasons I was a bit skeptical is because of the volumes on some assets. But if that's what you suggest, maybe we should also have a look at Paradex very soon. Oh, and I see that the maker fees here are actually 0, which is kind of cool. Interesting. So, and they also have like spot assets on Dime and Ethereum. Yeah, here, 24-hour volume 45 and 7,000, so not that nice. And they have options. That's interesting. Oh wow. So they also have options. Nice. And here they have TradFi, so they have silver. They have a 10,000 volume here. 1,000. Okay, it's not very high, unfortunately, but I guess it could work. Like if I, yeah. Said, as you said, the volumes are very low, right? But here PAX-G actually has quite a decent volume. Here PAX-G, which is PAX Gold, it's tokenized gold basically. This looks kind of okay. And PAX-G here actually, this is very interesting. PAX-G has 0% maker fees. So yeah, thank you very much for suggestion because I love arbitrage in gold. Like for me, arbitrage in gold is like my favorite strategy because last year, like I tried to show the futures against spot, but right now conditions are not good. But maybe I could try to arbitrage PAX-G against XUSD. That looks like a very fun project. Thank you for a suggestion. Guys, if you show me any DEX, right, that has 0 maker fees on any gold asset, you have to call me ASAP because this is like something that I would always like try to go for. And the spread here is 16, 17, so roughly, like, yeah, $1.5. And yeah, so the volume's not high, it's just 825,000, but we can like allocate some of our capital on PAX-G. I think this would be a great strategy. Would you code a screener and also trade a basket? Yes. So before I was like focusing mainly on one strategy, like I was focusing on like these high liquid assets where you can basically put almost all your money and trade. Like S&P 500 USDC has so much volume where you can actually get fully filled even if you have like a 100K account, right? It's so easy to get filled on S&P 500. It's so easy to get filled like on an asset like even XYZ 100 or crude oil on HyperLiquid. And so I was focusing on these high liquidity assets. But maybe another approach that I can try is, of course, try to split my capital into a basket of many strategies that have like very, very high return and like try to, that approach. I think maybe this is an approach that I should probably explore and that could maybe like improve the profitability of my trading. Where can I read more about this funny rate arbitrage concept? Very interesting. I will send you an article. You can read more about it here. I also did a funny rate arbitrage in February. It was on crude oil. I made like $7,000, and I showed it on a video. It was really nice. And actually, I'll just send you a video. I think that's the best thing you can do, or that I can do, or you can do. Ah, it's this one. So here I have a funny rate arbitrage video on crude oil. It's not too long. It's like, I don't know, how long is it? It's actually long, 25 minutes, but still, it was a lot of fun. And there I explain, the strategy and show a live trade example, how it works. And like this strategy, I opened like the hedge with my manual bots, right? This is like before I start coding with AI, and I'm the process of like replacing my current trading bots with the new AI trading scripts. And another question: do you build every strategy a dashboard? Yes. So every dashboard, like every like dashboard, like JP225 against something else, would have a separate dashboard. We're going to add also like the historical spread that you see here. That's also like very nice to see to visualize the trades, and then you would have like a general overview of all strategies where you then display the profits. So this dashboard you see here would, you know, so every strategy that we deploy would have like this single dashboard, and then we do like a general overview of all strategies to compute our profits. Pardon. Right, so I want to like open a trade on Nvidia. So right now the price on HyperLiquid is 214.2, and here on Nvidia it's 214.3. So we still need to wait because the market opens in 2 minutes, I assume. So we have 2 minutes before market open, and then we can check out Nvidia. Do you prefer to trade reward assets, hedging RWA with TradFi compared to funding ARB purely with crypto DEX per ARB? Yeah. So right now I only specialize in real world assets, right? So I would trade stocks, commodities. So I don't do like crypto assets. And because the liquidity is better, like on let's say MT5, or you go to interactive brokers, it's actually, in my opinion, cheaper to be a taker on like MT5, and so that's my main reason why I hedge uh, RWAs with MetaTrader 5. And which VPS are you using? Well, I used to use Beaks. So Beaks, they have like co-location with MetaTrader 5 providers. I don't use them anymore because a lot of DEXs, are illegal in the UK, and Beaks is like in the UK. So I moved to a Czech provider right now. But because HyperLiquid servers are actually located in Japan, Tokyo, I'm now thinking of migrating my strategies to to Tokyo soon. But I still have like my own like Czech servers at the moment. Okay, so we're -5. We have AWS in Tokyo. Can recommend the location for HyperLiquid. Ah, that's great. So send me a message. I'll check it out. So maybe we can move our service to Tokyo. So then we would, connect to some data feed provider in Tokyo, and then we can also quote our prices uh, in Tokyo as well. That would reduce the latency and also potentially like increase, improve our execution quality. Okay, so here we have our market open. Uh, so here the price is 212.7, and here's right. So here this broker opens 35. So we still have 5 minutes before this broker provides quotes. But yeah, I'm writing down one thing, and it was a suggestion to like create an arbitrage strategy between PAX GUSD on Paradex. That looks like fun for me. But I know that the liquidity is quite limited, right? The liquidity is here just 800,000. It's not a lot. But like if we just, for example, allocate 10,000 US dollars or maybe 25,000 US dollars on the strategy, it would yield, in my opinion, very good returns, right? So it's just all about then, having all these different strategies and managing them correctly. In the meantime, I can maybe also check the documentation, how it looks. And interesting. So also have a look at the markets. So PAXG. Also, PAXG can be quite dangerous, right? So maybe I can show you one thing about PAXG. And as I talked about liquidations, right? Liquidations are very bad again for us. So here we have PAXG USD. So basically this is PAX gold, tokenized gold, right? If you look at the historical data on PAXG, in the history, we've had two big liquidation spikes. Do you see the spike here, right? Like these are two liquidation spikes. So here we see that for some reason, like we know what happened. There was like big liquidation stress, and PAXG, all the market makers on PAXG pulled their quotes, and so the price of PAXG dropped down to 3,000 within that day. You could almost call it a flash crash, right? Temporary flash crash, and the same happened then on the long side. And so you can see that when a liquidation like this happens and you get liquidated, all your funds can get wiped out during such a spike. So this just proves a point that arbitrage that we're doing is not 100% risk-free, right? And especially on PAXG, we have to be careful, not to over leverage, because such a spike could cause very large losses. Ding, 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 ding. There goes another account. Not sure what you mean by that, but yeah. I'm full delta neutral MT5. So yeah, I just fully hedge the exposure. The moment, I get filled on HyperLiquid, I hedge that exposure on MT5. And then I try to, check it here. Okay, I think I'm going to add this historical spread chart down here. For the specified symbols, you'll find an example, or you'll find example charts and calculate historical spread of IPNB. We'll broker using MT5 right now, capital point trading, which is IC trading. But as I said, I'm moving away from them. So recently I didn't like the execution I got. Like on one day when I did this gold arbitrage, I had like a 6-second or 3-second execution delay on MT5, and like I was quite disappointed with the execution delay. Grafana better than Plotly. I heard about Grafana, but Plotly is what I use because I code the app in Dash, right? So this is code in Dash. So because Dash and Plotly is one and the same company, and I like come from a data analytics background. This is what I've been using. Okay, so Claude is thinking. I'll be back in a second. I'll have another bathroom break. And I'll be back soon. Yeah, I don't have X, but I have Instagram, so feel free to follow me on Instagram if you guys want to. I'll send it later. First, I'll take the bathroom break. Okay, so I'm back now, and Nvidia is now open. So now let's look at the funding rates in the aftermarket open, see if there is like still some pricing discrepancy. So it's 211.95 or 212, and here it's 211. So there's like a 20 to 30 cent difference between the exchanges. So 212, and here we have, okay, 30 cents. So I think it might be possible, right? Actually, it is possible. So first, let's have a look at the historical spread on Nvidia and try to, deploy a strategy on just Nvidia. Let's see if we get some price data. So now actually what I should do is I will create full strategies, right? So I can have like uh, a separate folder for every individual strategy. So here I'm going to create a folder for Nvidia, and then I can also create like a folder for my JP225. Okay, here we're also working on the dashboard upgrades. So here what we need for every strategy is, it's actually quite simple. We just need a trading bot, maybe trading bot manual for manual things. We need the trading utils.py and then the MT5 hedger, and then probably the dashboard. So then we just add all these things here into a separate folder, and then we also need the strategy settings and strategy settings. Yeah, strategy settings. Here we can just define the different symbols that we want to trade. So so that's it. So I just need to blow my nose real quick. Sorry about that. So here, when we trade Nvidia, we won't need any currency conversion. So it's XYZ NVDA, and here we just do NVDA. The contract size is 1. Always check the contract size. So here the contract size is indeed 1. And so let's just stick with maximum exposure 1 and -1. I need to review the historical spread in this notebook. So let's just look at the historical spread on Nvidia. And right now we see that Nvidia, is priced 20 or 25 cents above. So maybe what I can try doing is maybe I can like short Nvidia when it's at like 0.2 and then exit the trade when it's like at 0.1. So that's like a 10-cent edge. Maybe I should do it at 25. 25 sounds better. Or like I don't need to exit 0.1, right? I can like try to exit at 0.05 in theory. So now this is just like a matter of backtesting and then optimizing. But first I just want to to create a simple hedge, and then like again we can try to backtest and optimize later. Okay, so let me try to show you an example on Nvidia then. I think so 25 is sell, and let's say 0.5 or 20 is sell. What was it? So okay, we enter at, I don't know, 0.3. So right now we have an exit position, and okay, let's just say 0.25 is our sell entry, and then we try to exit at 0. And so here our hedge threshold is 0.5. And I think this should work. So now I'm just double checking that I have everything I need here. In theory, I can try to, to connect trading manual.py and send a manual trade. So here we see that we get like pricing from Nvidia. So, I mean, it's just one contract, nothing bad should happen. So let's just turn tradingbot.py and let's hope I didn't make any mistake. Okay, here the symbol name is wrong. So here in strategy settings, it's actually nvidia.nas. And so let's try to run this again. Okay, so we're trading Nvidia right now. All right, actually, I forgot one thing, and the good thing is here on IC markets, we can also trade fractional shares, right? Middle volume is 0.1. So actually, what I can also adjust in strategy settings is that there is this hedging threshold. So I can actually change it to 0.5 so we can like hedge in 0.1 increments. So I'm going to add that too. Okay, so now it seems that we are submitting orders to Nvidia. So one Nvidia contract. Let's have a look at the price here. It's okay. Let's look again. So here price is 221.39. 221.39 short. 7. All right, so this is interesting. So here it's 221. Oh, and that's why. It's because we have a minimum top of book offset. I've also forgot to edit this one. So here, let's say my minimum spread on HyperLiquid should be, I guess, let's set it to 5 cents, for example. So my minimum distance from the top of book price should be at least 5 cents. And all right, and I should also turn on MT5 hedger. So here we have, I just need to make sure that symbol MT5 is being used to, all right, it should be okay. So here in MT5 hedger, if I turn MT5 hedger on, it will measure the exposure on Nvidia. And so now let's turn the trading bot. Poseidon, welcome to the stream. Missed the last hour. What has happened in the meantime, roughly? Well, today I just showed everyone an example on my JP225. We were trying to, modify his dashboard and compute today's profits. And so I'm still investigating why we're in minus. It might be possible, but I still need to review trades. But in the meantime, I decided to also show a trade example on Nvidia, right? Because Nvidia funding rates are like quite high. So I decided, to also open some test trades. And so if we look at this dashboard now, we have two symbols now appearing. So I have one contract on Nvidia now, and now I have one contract on HyperLiquid. And so if I compare the fills, so here entry, I can actually also then compute the average entry. So it's 211.69 minus 211.48. So this is great. So so our fill is 21 cents. So actually this is amazing. And let me check the strategy settings. So I said I wanted to enter at 2.5, so we got slipped like 4 cents. But what I can do now is maybe I can just increase the maximum exposure, right? So here max exposure long, let's for example say 5 stocks, right? Let's just open 5 stocks worth of Nvidia, and maybe we can like create a dashboard that's only dedicated for the specific symbol only. So I will also tell Claude to, create a dashboard for each individual strategy, and then we can like review the profits of that like single strategy. All right, so now I restarted the trading bot, and now we should go like 5 stocks of Nvidia now when we get the trading signal. And so the next funding rate is in 6 minutes. So we can then check it out. Also, I think I might also increase the amount of stocks to 20 maybe. I think 20 should be fine. Yeah, let's just go 20 because the margin requirements here are $10, so then the margin requirements would be roughly $200, and like we're not risking that much, and I'm like confident that we can try to make some money on Nvidia. And our hedging bot is working, and here I will tell. Okay, first we also have some changes. Running changes for our dashboard. I wanted to add the spread app. Yes, apply changes. And let's look at our trading bot. So right now, the ask spread is at 24. At 25, it should trigger a sell, but not quite. Okay, I will tell Claude, but what you can see now is like, this is nice, right? You can see that here we have our buy on Nvidia and here we have the sell on Nvidia, right? So we have these two things here. Then we can like try to compare these two trades and then compute like the average spread fill, right? So right now we got quite a good fill, right? It's not 25, it's just 21, but it's still good enough to make a profit on this hedge on Nvidia. And right now I told Claude, to create the spread fig and price fig for the things. Okay, so now we can try to restart dashboard, and so hopefully in dashboard.py we will also see the historical spread. So what you see here now is like the spread on JP225. So here we see the prices, and here we see the price difference. And I think 45, 15-minute snapshot. Okay, so I will also in dashboard.py, can you use 1min candlesticks to compute the historical price and the spread? Actually, for today. So now I'm telling Claude to improve this chart here. And so this is the suggestion that I had from Wanga, who suggested to add like the price history and also the spread history. So this is also like nice to have in our dashboard. And then I'm going to also tell Claude to filter out only the symbols that are specified in the strategy config. So here we're changing the time frame to this. Okay, and let's apply the changes. And let's see if we found any signals. I wonder if I restarted the trading bot. I think I did. Let's look at strategy settings. Oh, no, I didn't. So max exposure short should be -20, right? So here I actually screwed up because here we're going short, right? And here short was -1, so that's why I didn't place any trades. So here I now set -20, should be fine. In dashboard.py, what is it? Can you filter out, or can you only show data for the symbols that are specified in strategy settings.py? So now we're telling Claude to filter out the symbols that we only want to check. And so in theory we could create like a dashboard that has all the symbols in them, but for now I just like want to focus only on one symbol only, and then maybe we can like create a dashboard that can show multiple strategies or just a single one. But I'm doing it mainly so I can like have a clear overview of what the strategy is doing. And now we see that like on Nvidia we're already short 5 stocks. On MT5 we also are like long 5.2 stocks. So everything's great. So maybe Nvidia today will be more profitable than JP225, hopefully. We need to make sure that the execution is good though, because if it's not good, then we might have a problem. Okay, but we'll figure it out once we have the new dashboard version out, and then we'll investigate the Nvidia price. Okay, let's apply the changes. And so this new dashboard hopefully now only will show the data for the specified assets or symbols that I provide. But so now let's look at the entry. So here it's 211.32, which is our entry price, minus MT5, which is 211.12. So nice. So our average entry is 0.2. So we are like 5 cents worse, but this is still a good price for us. And like with this entry, like assuming we also get 5 cents slip on the exit, we need like at least an exit at 0.1 or 0.005. But I set the exit to 0, so I think that should be good enough. Okay, so apply the changes to dashboard.py. And yeah, let's. Right, so now we got filled again. So now we have more trading signals. Let's make sure that, okay, yes, it's being hedged correctly. So we're long short 8.2 on HyperLiquid. We're long 8.2 on MT5. And I'm excited, until the dashboard is done, because then I can then review the profits here. Like we're still trading. So right now we're 9, more than enough margin. Oh, I also have to check the liquidation price. Okay, the liquidation price is 270, which means that Nvidia would have to, go from 211 to 270 for us to get liquidated. I would say quite unlikely, but let's look like at the historical P&L. Also, the problem is like because Nvidia closes, overnight, right? So we have no reference price, so there might also be some market cap risk. And oh yeah, and we're also using like cross. All right, we got an unhedged position because in MT5 hedger in strategy settings, I applied maximum lot set to 10.0, right? So for stocks, maybe for today, we should also maybe place 100. And anyways, I actually decided that for today, we might just want to have just maximum exposure of -10. So we have 10.2, we have 10.2, everything's fine here. And now it's running. Okay, so we might have had an unhedged position. maybe. Let's still check the execution. But I think it should be okay. Nothing too bad happened. So here, 211.24 minus 211.04. Right, it's still like 20 cents difference, which is great. And okay, so now let's look at the dashboard. It should be done. So here, the new dashboard changes we can like put into this folder here, and let's just turn on the script here. So I will run it under a different port 8051, and now we can monitor the results here in here. So here we should like just have, as you can see, just the Nvidia, and so what do we have here? So here we have like today's historical price. Here we have the price difference, and so this is our current unrealized P&L. Right, so on MetaTrader 5, we paid 24 cents in commission. On HyperLiquid, 6 cents. So in total, we're minus 30. And so theoretically, if we close the position now, right? So if we, for example, let's say made 15 cents in the spread and we have 10 shares open, so our net P&L could be 1.5 US dollars. So it would definitely cover the commissions. So what we just need is for Nvidia, to drop down to 0. And in the meantime, we can also make money on funding rates, right? So here, another funding, we got 21 cents on JP225, which is again great. And now we have our Nvidia trade open. So the good thing now is that we've actually, created a folder, so we can actually separate our strategies in like multiple subfolders, and then we can like try to run each folder separately, which is a nice thing. And in the dashboard here, we have like a dashboard where we only have that specific symbol, and we also have the price chart here. This is like also pretty good. And so the thing is like, the reason like the bot crashed is here because I didn't like set the strategy settings correctly. So so next time like I just review some strategy, like create a new strategy, then I should probably just go line by line. But yeah, so our Nvidia strategy is also running. In theory, I can try to deploy it on my server, and then now I can like have like a multi-account dashboard where I can keep track of multiple strategies, or I can have like all like symbols inside one, and then maybe create like a table where I like compute the performance of every strategy individually. That's also like something I could do. And yeah, so far I think I'm like very happy with today's progress. And so let me also have a look at maybe some other symbols. And I think we might have to deposit more money now because I feel quite confident that the script is sort of working. Well, sort of is not an excuse to, put all your money in it, but I'm confident enough that like it should work. So maybe I will put like $5,000 more onto this account and 5,000 more on MT5, and then we can like properly start like testing multiple strategies, like 2 or 3. So right now with JP225, with Nvidia, and like also Apple, right? Apple here has a negative funding rate, and the good thing is actually like if we go short Nvidia and we go long Apple, what we do is we also hedge our portfolio because we have one tech stock that's short, one tech stock that's long, and it might actually also like help with the margin things. So is the bot making losses now? I don't know. I still have to review the historical like trades. I assume like I mentioned at the start of the stream that my trading bot crashed overnight, so I had some unhedged position overnight. So there is a high chance that I lost $10. but like the strategy on its own, I believe that should be okay now. So I'll just let it run again overnight. Hopefully it will not crash. If yes, I'll be very sad, but I applied, some changes today, and we'll just keep monitoring, right? We just keep monitoring. And so yeah, I suggested that we can also like add Apple, and Apple right now is -93. Let's check the price. It's 31175, and here MT5 Apple. So here we have a 2-cent spread, 312.27. Okay, so we are like 18 cents above HyperLiquid price. Are you going to share the code on GitHub? Yes, so by the end of the week, for all my research members on my website, I'm going to, add them to this project, and then you can try out this strategy yourself. So it will be all available on GitHub for you. Okay, so how about you also open a long position in Apple? Because here we have annualized minus 27%. We will also hedge the portfolio because, as I said, Nvidia is short, Apple will be long. They're sort of correlated, right? Because it's two tech stocks. And so we reduce the volatility of the portfolio while also, trying to make more profit. So here I'm going to also create a new folder for Apple, right? I'm just going to copy all the settings here. And here in strategy settings, so the price of Apple is 312, so it's 50% more than Nvidia. So if I want to have roughly same exposure, then I should probably, let's say, set the long to 7, right? I will set the maximum exposure long to 7. And also let me try to review the historical spread on Apple. So here, let's have a look at the historical spread first, and then we can like start our second trading bot. So now what's actually going on is we have two trading bots running parallel, and after I turn Apple, we will have three trading bots running parallel. So yeah, so now we actually created a framework to run multiple strategies at the same time. And so what's missing now is like creating a system like to choose what symbol we want to trade, what should the entry exit levels be. So now we will also focus more probably on backtesting and optimization. So here I want to check the Apple history. So here we are at -2, right? Sometimes it's minus 0.31. So actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to place an entry at minus 0.25, which I can do here. So here in strategy settings for Apple, we're going to do this by changing the symbol names. Here we're going to enter long at 0.25. Our hedge threshold is 0.05. Let me also check the minimum contract size on Apple, which is still 0.1, which is great. And here I think that should be fine. So actually just, by changing these settings, right, we can actually just probably run the trading bot. So first we run the MT5 hedger, which will hedge the Apple exposure, right? So here now it is running. And so if we now turn on our trading bot for Apple, so now, as you can see, we have a lot of scripts running. So now we can see that we are actually quoting buys on Apple because Apple is underpriced relative to MT5. So now we have a third trading bot running, and now we're just trying to get filled, right? Now we're just trying to get filled, and hopefully our MT5 hedger will also open a hedge on MT5. And yeah, also what I added into a script is that there's like a minimum spread, which should be 5 cents. So it is still there. So now we're just quoting the buy limit, still trying to get filled. As you can see, this like one is actually us. Right, so here in the dashboard, you can see buy, sell, buy, sell, buy, sell, buy, sell, buy, sell, right? And that is good. Okay, we're still not getting the fills that we'd like. Oh, our first apple fill, nice, beautiful. So here we got filled one apple, and here we're also like one apple short, so everything's great. Our position is hedged. Here's our MT5 hedger, and like it's getting a bit messy here, right? I have a lot of scripts, so we can like then create like a what is it called, like a central system or process that will manage all these individual scripts and like turn them on and off and so on. So we always need like MT5 hedger running, trading bot running, and so on. But first, like it's day 3, right? So we still need to check that all these individual trading bots are running smoothly. So I think we still need to give it like maybe a week time to make sure that everything's running fine. Nice. So our second Apple stock got filled. In theory, I can also like open another dashboard. So here I'm going to open dashboard number 3. So we have actually quite a lot of dashboards running. And I need to check one thing because HyperLiquid has like a maximum WebSocket connection limit. I think maybe it's 10. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 scripts running. So I think nothing too bad yet. So here, this is our Apple dashboard. And here on Apple, we see, yeah, the results on Apple. Am I seeing correct on Apple? We have realized plus 2 cents. No, that's a mistake. There was definitely a mistake. But let's also check our fill. So on Apple, we got filled on HyperLiquid 311.85 minus 312.02. So it's minus 17. So our entry was minus 25. So it's an 8-cent slip. Not so nice, but I think it should still be okay. So Wanga asks, one of the risks is the direction price move at the position building stage on both sides, right? Yeah, that's correct. So there is this execution risk that like once we get placed filled on HyperLiquid, that we still need to hedge it on MT5. And here latency definitely helps. And so another question, the actual spread will be limited, or you only open MT5 position when HyperLiquid trigger. Yeah, exactly. So when HyperLiquid gets filled, as a confirmation, that's when I send the market order to MT5 to hedge that exposure. Okay, so So here I want to go maximum of 7, yeah, 7 stocks on Apple. And so yeah, that's amazing now. So now we have 3 separate trading bots on 3 separate symbols. They're all trading their own thing, but the strategy is basically the same. And as I said, right now in the strategy settings, the limits are static. So yeah, there's a lot of things we can like still work on, and I think now I'm thinking like, what can we do like to still improve the trading bot and dashboard? Like there are still some risk settings that I have implemented, like trading hours, maximum daily loss, right? Some fail safes if something goes wrong, and I still haven't like, I'm not sure if I fixed the WebSocket issue, like when the trading bot disconnects, what happens like after disconnection, if it reconnects again or not. So I still need to confirm that exactly. Okay, so I think I don't need this anymore. This is the old dashboard. I can terminate this. So this is script 1, this is script 2 dashboard. So I have like, yeah, this should be fine. So I think for the rest of the day, I will just wait. As you can see, like what I'm doing is I'm also using the calculator to, you know, compute the entries. So maybe what I can do, I think I can do it right now. In dashboard.py, open positions card, I am computing HyperLiquid entry price minus MT5 entry price to check my spread fill. Can you compute this value for me and display the value here? Where do I want to display? Probably down here. Maybe if I draw it myself, I don't know. So here I want the difference. Here I also want the difference. And here I also want the sum. Okay, this handwriting is so bad, but let's just add it and see what Claude does. Maybe Claude also understands bad handwriting. What do you guys think? Uh, like I've added so many screenshots to Claude. I'm always like surprised that Claude understands. But this is for scientific research, guys, right? If Claude can understand this, then I'd be super impressed, right? Using my tokens to understand my handwriting is probably the most inefficient way to prompt Claude. But if it works, I'm not going to be mad. Maybe I should have removed the arrow. All I know right now is it's burning through my tokens. But let me check my today's limit so far. I feel like I'm not using that much, right? Maybe I'm overpaying. I have the Pro 5X Max or whatever it's called. Okay, net exposure, some okay, spread fill you want, okay, value. Guys, I think either I explained it perfectly or Claude is just as smart, or both. So I think this can go on my like Instagram story today. But first I want to, look at my usage, right? At my daily usage. For my current session, I have 3% used. I'm doing something wrong. I'm not using enough tokens. Oh yeah, sorry, I forgot to add my Instagram. This is my IG. If you just type it there, you should be able to find me. Bro, are you sure you're using Opus 4.7? I think so. By the way, yes, I am. Okay, guys, so let's take my dashboard that I have here, put it into my Apple, then override this Apple folder, restart this Apple dashboard, and then, so this is Apple, right? So now we're just restarting the, oh, I also need to update the port because I've updated the port. Let's restart this. And I think, yeah, I think it worked. This is crazy. So this is like expectation reality. Okay, I need to add it to my Discord. Impressive. Impressive, Claude. Very impressive. So here my entry is minus 15, which is great, right? The hover is too bright. I will then, do it later. But this is our entry price. This is the sum of floating P&L, right? So this is if I were to close it right now. Also, like MT5 is in euros, so this value should be also like currency adjusted later. Hey, when I get my broker on USDC, it shouldn't be a problem. Here it means it's perfectly hedged, and this is the value. So this is like a perfect like monitoring card here for this. And then you have like the commission funding and swap breakdown, account data, and then trades. I don't think we need anything more. Maybe like add like a open orders to make sure there are no open orders, but I'm in shock. It is amazing. Right, so you know what? when I hover over the text, it is to write and I can't read it. Can you make the hover color more dark? Like pasting images is actually so amazing. I like your mental model. When you're running multiple scripts that all fetch the exact same Apple order book, will instantly multiply your connection count, centralized data broadcast architecture ideal. Well, I think I think there are like better ways to do it, you know, because there is also like I think the absolute best way to do it would be like a central like system that can like communicate with all these individual training bots, and it would be like a central system to take care of like all the executions, orders, and so on. But by separating this, I think you have like if one thing breaks, you know that other things are still running. So I think there's like a certain trade-off the way you design it. And like the way I designed it is like one strategy works, and then I just decide to put in a folder, right? So I can then separate them. Uh, so for like fast development, I think this is better. But in the long term, if I have like 10 or 20 strategies, I don't think I'll have 10 or 20 strategies, but it is possible, right? Then maybe if I reach the maximum WebSocket limit, then probably I would just have to order more servers or like tell HyperLiquid to give me, you know, increase my limit on the WebSocket connections. Do you offer Zoom consultations for ATJ members? Right now, no, I didn't think about, you know, providing like one-on-one sessions, but maybe what I could offer to my members is like on Discord, right? On Discord, I was planning to do like member only like live streams or like Discord calls, let's say, like meetings. So if you guys have like, let's say, questions, right? Specific questions for your project or like questions you want to ask in the Discord group specifically, then maybe like I can organize like a meeting for members only, and we can like try to, you know, discuss the solutions there. So like this is something that we could do. So if on Discord, like you already have like some questions, you can like maybe add them to help please. And then if the questions, you know, if I know how to reply to those questions, then maybe I can like do like a Discord meeting there. So Nvidia, how does Nvidia look right now? So the next funding rate is in 24 minutes. If you want to make your dashboard more modern and better looking, just ask it to use dark theme React with trans-stack table. I'm going to copy your code and see what we do, right? But first I'm going to do this. Like personally, I like this the way it is, right? I'm not really like concerned uh with the look of the app, right? I like to be very like very practical. But if it's just one line of code and it will make it look nicer, why not? Because at the end, our main job is like to make money, not making nice dashboards. Any specific reason you use PyCharm or VS Code, or is it just what you're used to? Yes, I started coding in PyCharm like I think 5 years ago, 6 years ago, and it's what stuck, right? I've never tried VS Code in my life. I bet it's like also a great IDE, but I've never tried it. and I've been like using JetBrains applications, since the beginning. Okay, create a copy of dashboard.py and call it dashboard2.py. For dashboard2.py, use dark theme. Oh no, not this one. I'm just going to copy your suggestion theme React with 10 stack table. Let's see what happens. Okay, this might take a lot of time because now we have to like rewrite all the DBC themes, right, from DBC Darkly to a new CSS layout. And I'm just gonna go with the recommended one because I've never worked with this library, so curious to see what we'll get. And then you guys can like tell me what looks better objectively after we're done. Hmm. So now let's just see what we'll get. So I think a better dashboard would be like not open like 3 separate dashboards, but maybe we can, yeah, just create one dashboard which connects to the same HyperLiquid and MT5 anyways, and we just filter by the symbol, so we don't have to create like multiple web apps at the same time. And then like this app, if there are multiple trading bots running with multiple symbols, we can then create like uh, yeah, summary of each strategy and how it performs for that day. I think that would be like a very good upgrade because yeah, there is a high chance that we'll be like running multiple strategies at the same time. Okay, so already taking 3 minutes. Probably that's a big request, so let's just wait and see what happens with this new app layout. In the meantime, let's look at other trades. Hmm. Xiaomi, 772% annual funding rate. Yeah, that is crazy. Okay, finally our app is done. Now we have dashboard2.py, and let us try to run it. Okay, I don't understand these things. The worst thing I'm at is doing front-end design. And I need to install this library also. So this is dashboard 2, guys. Let's open dashboard 2. All right. Maybe we need, some, color changes, but I mean, it's not bad either. Like let's compare the tables. I mean, these are dash tables, and these are like normal tables. Like the layout looks like pretty much the same. It's just the difference in tables. And down here, we are like using different charts, I would assume. Is it a Plotly chart? No, I think it's a different chart. No, it is a Plotly chart. Yes, it is still a Plotly chart. But anyways, not sure. Probably right now I still prefer left one, but maybe with a little bit of extra tweaking and work on the right one, I think it could look pretty good too. Like it just the color difference and the table is a bit different. But yeah, that's the thing. I don't like to overthink the design. Like so far this looks good to me, and I will just put it in the archive. Do I have an archive folder here? Let me just create an archive. There we can put everything old that we don't need but might need in the future. And I'm putting this into archive. Well, I must say our project got very, very big. Okay, anyways. So hey guys, so I guess I'm done for today. I think we've done like quite a lot again. Like we have like this very nice dashboard. We can separate like the strategies by symbol. I'm very happy that we have like 3 strategies running. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to deploy the new strategies on my VPS as well. and then we can like compare the performance of each strategy tomorrow, right? And then we'll see, if we're able to make money tomorrow on see or like if we're able to, right? So it seems like the JP225 something went wrong there, but we can still investigate that, and like still the trade is running, right? So we can still try to make money. Like as you can see, like there are so many trades here, right? Like so many trades. So we'll also like check, the individual executions, and then tomorrow we also like check Nvidia and JP225, see how much money we're going to make or like potentially lose in case something happens. So like we're getting like to the final stages where I think this project soon, can run uh, like uninterrupted. There's like this still minor thing like with disconnects, and I think if I'm able to like fix all these issues by the end of the week, then I will like put in GitHub. I will like, add a lot of disclaimers, right? Because first it's coded with AI, a lot of things can happen, but you guys hopefully uh, understand the risks of like trying the strategies for yourself. And so I'll let you know when this is ready, and then for my members, I will send invite links to this new GitHub project. So thank you guys for joining today's live stream. As usual, if you have like any questions, right, we can like still have like a discussion Q&A, and yeah, then I can enjoy the nice summer day. It's really nice and hot today, and I still need to go exercise later in the evening, so I still have a full day ahead of me. Yeah, first, let's not forget to commit all my changes. I don't like redocument. Maybe Claude can help me. Oh, maybe I can just ask Claude to help me. Are you able to assist with adding uh, uh, git commit comments? One comment for everything. So now we're going to commit all changes, and then I can enjoy my day. Oh, and then I need to deploy also the trading bots. Yeah, I need to deploy the trading bots on my VPS, but that should take too much time. And also the chance of any bot crashing is higher, right? Because then I have 3 trading bots, and then if something crashes, at least I can try to investigate the reason. And I'm pretty sure like something will crash sooner or later. Yes. All right. The Streamlit dashboard also looks cool. Streamlit. Let me have a look at Streamlit. Right. Yeah, I haven't tried Streamlit before, but it looks pretty good. So yeah, maybe I also can try to play with it. Like also the good thing about Dash is like it's also like interactive, right? It uses like React, but maybe I need to check Streamlit like what it does exactly. Like also we have like dashboard, we have buttons. Probably it's all gonna be cool too. Looks quite simple. So thanks for a suggestion. All right. So yeah, it seems everything is done, everything's committed, and we're good. Okay, guys. So thank you very much for joining today's live stream again, and I'll see you tomorrow. Probably, it will not be at 1 p.m. Prague time. Probably it will be like maybe 2 or 3 p.m. I'll let you know because I'm like busy in the morning, and like I still need to, do some other things besides just live streaming. So I'll let you know, and I'll schedule the live stream like maybe tomorrow at 11 latest, and I'll let you know if it's gonna be like 2, 3, or even 4 p.m. Yeah, so thank you. Enjoy the rest of the day, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye, guys.